Where do they come from? And particularly looking at the work of Lisa Feldman Barrett, who says that we aren't at the mercy of our emotions, but our brain creates them. So what does she mean by that? What did you think?
About our experience in life.
Okay,
Like,
yes.
yeah. Hello.
Hi, Lisa. This has gone a bit strange. Okay. Larissa, sorry, welcome. Yes, okay. So I think maybe you just missed that question. Let me ask it again. What, yeah, emotions, are we at the mercy of our emotions? Are they something which is inbuilt with us, or do we have, do we create them ourselves? And Bam, you were saying?
I was saying that it's about experience in life that makes us predict what we should do next.
Okay, yes, our experience in life makes us predict. Can you elaborate on that? Can you
Mm,
explain? Can you, or give us an example?
for example, well, I haven't think of that, so it might take time.
Okay,
Mm,
we can bring in Seb. Maybe we can come back to you if you think of a good example.
great.
I think she gave the example of a picture that looked very abstract and that was very confusing to many people, to everyone. And then she reveals that actually it is a snake, the patterns of a snake. And then going back to the previous picture, everyone now has the experience of the real picture, and now they are able to see, to recognize these abstract patterns, what it means behind this. So the conclusion is, as Bam said, our emotions are based on experiences; they are not built in.
Right.
So we don't have them when we are born, but it's throughout our life, through all the experiences we have, we build a lot of records, memories, and when we face a situation, our brain goes through these millions of memories and select one. And so it's I think she says she's a bit by chance that she selects the right memory, so it's not always it's guesses, so it's not foolproof. That's why it's important to recognize this, and that your brain sometimes is relying on the wrong experience, and by giving our brain other more data and more accurate data, or data we would like it to keep, we can retrain our brain. And I think that is the gist of it, if I remember. Yeah.
Yes, right. I think it's based on our experience. And she refers to it as being a kind of primal, maybe a survival instinct out in the wild. We had to make these patterns. If something looked a bit like a tiger, if it the person who could recognize it first would be the one who survived and went on. But now our brains kind of do this a bit all the time, really. Yes. Hi, Larissa. You joined us a little
Hi.
late. Did you get a chance to watch the video?
No, unfortunately, I didn't saw the video. So,
Sorry,
uh,
can you speak up? Oh, your microphone seems very quiet.
oh, what to do? I don't know. How it is? Is it better or not?
Okay. No, it's not. I've I've turned my speakers up. Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you can
Uh,
continue.
When I received your letter and I look at your questions and I tried to prepare some kind of answers to this question, and it was very interesting for me because what are these predictions and what kind of answer I found in literature that we have human emotions that are our basic emotions, and for example, as a fear, as a anguish, envy, and happiness, and so on. And this kind of emotions have a very long evolutionary history of building. But as we speak about new emotions which human receives in his life, of course, I think that new emotions, this is the answer for any actions in the life of the human. And I know that we can we can save very deep in our memory only those kind of emotion which were painted, emotionally painted. So we can receive remembrance about these actions, and after that to do not to do the same, but prevent our behavior from the repeating our mistakes. In this case, I think.
Yes. So in that way, do you think there are some basic human emotions, a bit like the primal, the what do we call them, primary colors, and the other emotions are more advanced versions of these, or perhaps blends of them together? That is one theory, but I don't think the speaker really, she didn't believe that, did she? She said that her research showed that, but I know I've heard of other research that shows this. Perhaps there are universal emotions across different cultures. Yes, Seb.
Isn't she saying at some point in the video that there are actually some basic emotions with basic way to show it, like comfort, calmness, happiness, like very basic emotions, as opposed to remorse that is more like she's taking the example of the terrorist of the bombing in Boston,
right,
who during his trial he had a stone face. He was stone
yes,
face,
yes,
and
it was certainly
this
expressionless.
emotion is a bit more complex than comfort or calmness, and you can find different interpretations depending on cultures. And she said that in Chechen cultures, showing a stone face, like not showing emotions, basically, is very in the face of defeat, in the face of
Yes, a kind of
it's like
stoic
there is
attitude.
a stoic attitude in the face of defeat.
Yes, right. Okay, yes, so perhaps there are these basic emotions. What's your take on that, Bam? Have you had time to collect your thoughts?
For the emotion that she said in the clip video, that it's almost impossible to detect the emotion. It doesn't mean that your face cannot express your emotion. Like Sam said, that stone face, but he is kind of murderer, and kind of other technologies that try to develop the technology to detect the emotion, like Google, Facebook, to get into our needs, but she said that it's still in the not the right way.
Yes, right. So she said, and it's impossible to tell what other people are thinking or feeling from their emotions, even though we try. Perhaps you might think there is a smile, but even a smile, there are many different types of smile.
And if it's crying, it might be crying from happiness.
Right. So yeah, so it's kind of context based, experience based. Okay. What does she say when she says that emotions are built rather than built in? Yes.
She said that emotions are built rather than built in. I think built in is kind of like we were born with emotion, but it's not. We have emotions because we grow up.
Right, through our experience.
That's it.
Yes, she keeps referring to this emotional circuit, or she says that there is no such thing as this basic emotional circuitry in the brain. Larissa?
I'm sorry, but I remember from her presentation that she, during her 18 minutes presentation, she returned many times to Jahar Tsarnaev face, and as Sebastian said, his stone face stare. Sometimes we try to find this kind emotions in the person, at the person. At his appearance, which emotion we have in our soul. And when we can't find this kind of emotion, for example, in Jahar Tsarnaev, we can accept this person and we can forgive him. Of course, he said he's apologized for his for his actions, but unfortunately, nobody from jurors believed in his apologizing and so on. And I have another example, a historical example, which was very funny for me. One day, if you have a time, it's about 1 minute. One day, the president of United States, George Bush, came from the official political visit from Russia, and he told, I saw in the face of the president Russia, Mr. Putin, and I saw in his face his soul. And Hillary Clinton, in those moments, he was very laughing because she answered, you know, Mr. Putin is a professional agent of the committee of the saving the government. So he has no any soul. He has no any emotions by the definition. All kinds of his emotions were improved during his school years.
Right, so he's been trained to kind of not show his emotions.
Yes. So Mr. Putin gave for George Bush this kind of emotion which he wanted to receive from him. I think.
Yes, interesting. Thank you for that example, Larissa. Seb, are you wanting to jump in at this point?
I do agree that people like highly trained people like Putin are able to train their reactions to emotions, to hide the common reactions, and to fake being trustworthy or calm and reliable and honest. But behind the facade, maybe someone more with a self-interest, but I think the same thing can be said about pretty much any politician, and that's why politicians do this job, is they are highly skilled in pretending to share, to have some ideas, to have some values, to some ideals, but behind the scenes, many, I'm not going to generalize, but some of them are not, don't have our best interest at heart. So Putin and Joe Biden, I don't know which one is the good guy, which one is the bad guy. I'm not here to, but probably both of them are not showing their true self when they are together. So yeah, there is so it's important to know that not to base your judgment on only facial expressions. And yeah.
So
Yes, Bam.
everyone might have to like wear their persona in order to live their life as normal as they can.
Yes, right. But is it obvious? Can you tell? As George Bush said, he could look into the soul. Perhaps some people are better at hiding their feelings, their true feelings, than others, at this kind of art of deception. If they've been trained to do it that way, although perhaps other people who are equally skilled could look for telltale signs of what people are really feeling or thinking.
Some can, but some cannot. For example, myself, I cannot, what to call this one? For example, if I want to cry, I cannot hide it. I have to cry it out.
But will we know if you're crying tears of joy or tears of despair?
Despair, of course.
Okay, I think that leads us to the next question quite nicely. So from deception to actually changing the way we feel, rather than just the way that we look or the way that others might think that we feel. Have you ever consciously changed the way you think and feel about a physical sensation? In the talk, she talks about perhaps going on stage or having a big event or something come up, and you might feel your heart beating faster. But she said you could interpret that in different ways. You could say, okay, this is happening to me. These are the physical sensations, undeniably. But the way that you interpret them, maybe I'm excited because this is a big moment, rather than, oh, I'm anxious, I'm nervous. And it reminded me of another similar talk by Simon Sinek, who gave similar advice about this topic. So is this possible? Is this just mumbo jumbo, or have you ever done this yourself? What do you think about this?
I've done this situation myself a lot because for me, as a student assistant, like for international relations division of the university, I had an opportunity to do a lot of kind of master of ceremonies, moderator, interviewer, something like that. And at the beginning, it's always like nervous. But when the camera in front of me, I have to feel that everything is amazing. Everything is so exciting. I have to act like that, but actually, in my heart, it's kind of like all of fear, of stress. But I have to act like, oh, I'm happy with this one.
Okay, yeah. Can you convince yourself, and can you actually change the way you feel and then the way you act from that interpretation?
Of course, at the moment on the stage, but when everything's done, so relief.
Have that big relief. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks for that example.
Thank you.
How about either of you two?
Guys, I remember myself when first of all began to read the presentation before the audience, and it was really difficult for me. But after 1 year of this experience, I think that it's became a part of me, and it's became a good habit for me. So I feel myself like I was a trainee in this field. But what was really difficult for me, and it is really difficult for me now, when one day I was informed that my aunt has the last degree of cancer disease. And I was informed it was terrible news for all my family, and I have to said all our relatives about this information. And of course, I have to saw in in the eyes of my aunt and to say her good news. But unfortunately, I was very disappointed in myself because I was informed that she has only several weeks, and it's really difficult to be emotionally calm when you know that this person can read you as an open book. And it was a really stressful situation. And when I tried to give her positive ideas, positive energy, but deep inside me, I feel like I don't know, I have a very difficult physical training. So after that, I had a lot of vitamins and a movie with fun to retain my forces, because it's a really difficult exercise for me.
Yes, and it sounds quite draining that you had to put a lot of effort into that too. Okay, thank you, Larissa. Seb, does anything spring to mind?
No, I just wanted to ask what I heard about something. It is often said in English. It's fake it until you make it.
Yes, right.
And so I think there is some truth behind this. And personally, I try to follow this advice, whether it is for important events or even for the daily life, to motivate myself. For instance, I find that if you have like a bad attitude, like crouching, or slumping your shoulders, or
Slouching.
slouching your shoulders, and so you need to act as you are confident and in control. And I feel like it gives you this little nudge in the right direction. It's not foolproof, but it definitely helps. And yeah, I noticed that personally it has been helpful. And she gives actually an example in the lecture. The lecturer, she says that when you feel a churning in the stomach, it can be either a situation because you are waiting something and you are experiencing anxiety, waiting for results, for medical results, like in the waiting room, for instance, you are a bit nervous. Or it can be you smell something close to a bakery and you feel your stomach churning, getting ready for receiving this delicious food in your stomach. So depending on the situation, the same symptom can be interpreted by your brain in different ways. So feeling nervous for an exam or a conference or ceremony, you can either tell yourself, oh, it's because I'm nervous and I'm going to fail and I'm going to be ridiculous. Or it's because I'm excited, I'm going to share some great stuff with the audience and I'm going to do a great job. So both attitudes can be adopted, and
Yes.
the result will be different.
Okay. Yes. Great. Thanks. Yeah, I know I've seen people suggest this, and I've tried it myself, and sometimes telling yourself, like you say, might feel nervous, but telling yourself that you're excited and just embracing that opportunity. But yes, the fake it till you make it, you're right, it's an old saying, some advice. Some people suggest that different versions of this, like you should fake it till you achieve it, or even be it till you see it. But yeah, sometimes the idea of at least going through the motions, making yourself appear confident, even to yourself, standing up straight, putting on a smile, and then the physical actions themselves can then send your brains the signal that yes, I am happy, I am relaxed. I'm in control, or whatever you need to do. And then that, I think that can then create a kind of cycle
Because
of
yeah, exactly.
behavior.
It's a positive. It creates a positive feedback loop, because if you act
Yeah.
self-confident, people will respond to your self-confidence,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then you gain confidence in return, and then you are even more confident. So you need a positive feedback loop.
Yes, good. Thank you. Okay, any other thoughts at this moment? Anything to add?
I remember a situation when one of my teachers he gave an advices to other to other leaders who makes presentations sometimes from time to time, and his advice, his piece of advice was that if you have an audience, you have to be full of spice and you have to be full of energy, because all participants of your audience, he came for you. He came. He truly believe in you, and he is like a fan of you. So you should to give him a positive feedback, and you should give your information in a very positive way of your ideas and in a good mood. But sometimes in my medical conferences, in my medical presentations, I saw very old professions, very old men. They are very
Professors.
important professors. Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much, because I try to to speak very
There's very
quickly, and
similar words.
yes, and I do make mistakes. And sometimes I met professors, and they are very important in their field, in their field of science, but they don't care about the mood of the participant of audience. They try to do only this work and go away. But if you be a presenter, you have to be like a showman and to give a positive emotions to your society. This is point of
Yes,
view.
right. Sometimes these very learned professors are not always the most natural presenters, are they? And their material might come across quite dry. It's a good
Well,
point. Yes, Bam, what do
so
you
for
think?
me, I think my circumstance might quite similar to you. I think the situation that is the toughest one is the final presentation for my um, undergraduate project, my senior project, and have to prepare all of the PowerPoint, the materials, and have to face a lot of assistant professor, doctors in front of me, and with all the participants, which were my friends, and actually I was a bit scared of the questions that they were going to ask. Was it going to be challenging? Am I going to answer that question? And it's kind of like too much pressure for me because, okay, of course, we have to prepare all the fundamental knowledge, all the experimental section results, analytical data. But then if they are asking other question that we haven't prepared, so what should we do? And it was kind of a bit suffer, but it's okay that I can get through it until now, right here.
Yeah, it reminds me of an old showbiz saying, "It will be all right on the night." Was it all right on the night?
All right, on the night.
Or the day? So during the performance, everything will be okay. You can prepare as best you can. But
Yeah, because like other thing, for example, like the question, unpredictable question is kind of, we can't control. So just go for it and go ahead and everything's going to be fine.
yeah, right. That's the spirit. Any points, or shall we move on to the next question?
Sure.
I think this is quite an interesting question because it's about language, and that's what I like to talk about. Do you agree that language can shape the way we feel? Often it's thought of as the other way around. You know, we feel a certain way and we use language to describe how we feel. But does it work both ways, at least? Or in the talk that she talked about certain cultures. Oh no, sorry, I'm confusing it with another talk that I saw. But there are, forgive me, there are in certain words, in certain cultures and languages, there are different words that perhaps in other languages we don't have the word to describe this feeling. And that was the next question as well. So I'll come back to that. But first of all, let me ask you guys, can language shape the way we feel?
Maybe I have to ask the question you back because I'm not sure if it's clear for me. Language, do you mean like different language or kind of verbal, your action, your I don't
Yes, so I mean, when I talk about language here, I mean our own language, words, verbal language, you know, the own dictionary that we use, the words, rather than body language or anything like that. Yes, Seb? Did you want, sorry.
Yes, so sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
who's ready?
So preparing for the lesson today, I watched the lecture I think you were mentioning, and how different languages shape the way we think. Because in some cultures, there are words that don't exist in our own cultures.
Yes.
And so, for instance, people, when they are asked, I don't remember the country, but when they are asked, how are you, or hello, they need to give the direction where they are going. Is it north? Is it south? Is it west? I don't know why, but it sounds strange. But so people develop an ability to recognize where they are. So I guess, yeah, they think a bit differently. And I think between German and Spanish, so Latin languages, are more likely when something bad happens, when an accident happens, or someone makes or does a blunder. Latin countries are more likely to say who is responsible. If a vase falls down,
yes,
they are going to say, "Oh, the vase broke itself." But in Latin countries, we're gonna say, "Oh, it's Sebastian who broke the vase." So the blame is we say who is responsible about the accident, and this has implications on how we view, we interpret the incident, because obviously people are going to remember this differently depending on the languages you use, the words you use, and yeah, that has a lot of, again, implications.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and I think I know the talk you're referring to, but it's another one still. But yeah, that's very useful. Also, there are some, I don't know, like for example, the talk that I saw, there might be one like I think it's in Danish. There is this word called hygge. I think I'm pronouncing it nearly right, which is a feeling of comfiness and, you know, warmth in the winter time when it's hard to describe because we don't have the feeling in our language. In Thai, I can think of a good one, which is Gangjai, which is very hard to translate into other languages because it's quite specific to the culture. But for Thai people, it instantly describes the way that you feel.
Ting
and I'm
tong.
sure.
Ting tong.
Ting tong.
I remember this word when you are crazy, no? I know Thai. I know how to speak Thai.
and I am ding dong.
So yeah, I just wanted to add one thing is also the language you use. For instance, how you describe yourself. Imagine you are facing a tough situation and you fail or you don't do as well as you would like to. You can say either to yourself, "Oh, I am so stupid. You are so stupid, Sebastian. You will never make it. You are blah blah blah." Or, "Oh, that's okay, Sebastian. You did your best, and you fail, but you are improving, and next time you." So you can either use positive words or negative words, and I think it has also an impact about the way you feel
Yes.
about yourself.
Yes, good example. Who would like to add to that? Larissa?
According to this question, I saw the literature and I liked one of scientific research by a Russian scientist. Her name is Lera Goritsky, and she says that we collected data around the world from China, Cyprus, Australia, Greece, and so on. And what was the conclusion of your article? That people who speak different languages do indeed think differently, and that even flux of grammar can profoundly affect how we see the world. Language is an uniquely human gift, central to our experience of being human. So it was her point of view, and I like it. I agree with her.
Yes, you agree. How about in Russian? Do you have any words? Or actually, the talk that I can't remember the word, but the talk that I saw mentioned a Russian feeling. I could only try to describe it. It was something of, it was this kind of a feeling of a despair, but you couldn't do anything about this. And it was
Or was it
related to
also
a north wind that blew
the
in.
different kind of blues? They have two words for light blue and dark blue. No.
Oh, perhaps I heard that as well somewhere else.
Yeah. And in
But
French,
yeah, even these colors. Yeah.
in Western countries, we say blue. Blue is blue, and in Russian, they have the words for light blue and dark blue, and it influences your
And in Thai as well.
range. Yeah, in Thai.
In Thai,
สีฟ้า
สีฟ้า สีน้ำ Oh, wow. Excellent.
Right. Far is like the color of the sky. It's the light blue.
Yeah, like blue, สีฟ้า.
And then
If we come back to the question, Dave, about our culture, about Russian culture, I don't know. I think that Russian people is a very open-minded people, and I really appreciate this kind in other persons all over the world. And one day I visited a conference of translators, and a lot of men and women, they say that in France, for example, very important, if you came to the shop, you should say in French, good morning or hello in this way. So this is a politeness and so on. But in our shops, we have not this kind of political culture or so on. But of course, so we have to say thank you or merci when you buy something, and some of sales helped you to do it.
right.
But
So in Russia, you just ask for what you want. Give me that bread.
Yes, give me please, or would you be so kind to help me to find shoes my size and so on. But
Right.
in France, I remember that you should, first of all, at the beginning, you should to give a warm words to the sales management. For example, hello, how are you? And only after that, would you be so kind to help me?
Right. Yes, it's kind of etiquette and the changes in different cultures, different countries. Yes, good point. Interesting. Any other ideas? Yes, Pam?
Okay, so for me, I have to say that Thai culture is quite different compared to like Western countries. For example, like when we want to greet somebody. So in English, we'll we will say like, how are you? How's everything going? Are you okay? Something like that. But in Thai, if we translate it into English, it will be, have you had breakfast yet? Have you had
Right.
lunch yet? What?
Yes. Where are you going?
Yeah, where are you going? That's kind of expression, which is if somebody don't get used to this expression, they will feel a bit strange. Why you have to ask me this question? It's not personal, something like that. But in Thai, is normal.
Yeah. All right. Good example. Yes, Seb.
Yeah, I think about the example Pam gave, like when American, for instance, say hi, how are you? It's a bit like they overdo it sometimes, and they seem not to really mean it. Like it's just how are you, but they don't even expect an answer. So it's not like they
Right.
care. You feel bad. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I was just saying this out of courtesy, but no, I'm exaggerating. But sometimes it's a bit like this. And I agree with Lisa. Also in France, it's very frowned upon to not to say hello to the business owner or the sales assistant. So you have to remember this. Yeah, hello. But again, maybe sometimes it's an automatic way to just greet someone, and we take it for like it's an yeah, it's just a cultural thing. Like it's not because we care more about saying, "Oh, have a great day, please." I would be so happy if you have like. No, it's just a cultural thing. Like more.
But
than,
then if it's missing and somebody's, you might see them as impolite. Or
exactly. No. It's definitely you have
uncultured.
to. Yeah. It's again automatic. You don't even think about it. It's ingrained in us.
Yeah. So that leads us nicely to the next question, which is similar. It's related, really. Does your culture have any emotions that are particular to it, and any words to describe them? I kind of jumped the gun with the last question, but tell us about Gang Jai.
Great Jai. All right. Okay, so I'll be the first. Great Jai express the feeling of do not want to bother other people. Like, would you mind doing this to me, please? But inside, I feel so great Jai. Like, don't want to bother them to do this to me, but still need, you
But
know.
sometimes people will say, "Oh, I don't want to ask them. I don't want to bother this person because Gang Jai.
Because
I'm
Great
worried
Jai.
about what I don't want to hurt their feelings somehow." Or doesn't it literally translate as "I'm afraid of their heart" or something?
Yeah, just don't want to hurt
doesn't.
other, like, mentally.
So yeah, it's quite a difficult term
Yeah.
to translate. So it's a good example. How about in French or Russian? Is there anything that you think of that it's hard to translate into English or to other languages, because really it's very French or it's very Russian. Yes, Seb.
I think one of the emotion we have in France that is quite widespread is the emotion of entitlement or being angry, complaining. That's why I guess, in the news, if you see the news from France, oftentimes I think it's about demonstration in the street, people complaining, being grumpy, like, oh, the government is not doing a good job, and we are very, very vocal about it. But not only about politics. We like to complain a little bit too much, maybe, and especially when we have everything going for us, the slight thing that goes wrong is going to to be our main focus, and we are going to complain about this. Oh yeah, the weather is not so good today. But do you have food in your fridge? Are you healthy? Are you yeah? But the weather is not good. Okay. So yeah, that's about a bit like this. We are not. Maybe we should be a bit more grateful, and yeah. But it's in our DNA. We like to complain.
And is there a kind of an expression or a word which sums up this feeling or this attitude in French?
In French,
yes.
râler, râler.
Râler. Ah, I see.
Râler,
How
ouais,
would you?
on râle.
Okay.
On râle beaucoup. Arrête de râler. Stop being grumpy. Arrête de râler.
Oh, is it kind of grumpiness?
Exactly, grumpy. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Larissa, have you?
Yes, and Sebastian, I think that it's not bad. It's a good quality to complain, to discuss your minds, your ideas, which you not with you disagree, and. This is a good prophylactic job from future disease, I think. But from the opposite side, my country, Russia, I think that our people, is a very patient people and very tolerant. For example, we have. I tried to use vocabulary to translate this word, but we have many years when our people were in serfdom. Dave, help me please how to translate it.
Well, serfdom is a kind of slavery almost, isn't it?
Yes. And on the one hand, we had this kind of slavery. On the other hand, we have 300 years when we had wars with Tatarstan, and we were under this slavery. So our culture, our people, very tolerate. And we have our patience till the latest moment when we
breaking
have
point.
Yes, breaking point. Thank you. When we have a terrible disease, only after that we begin to complain, and I think that this is it's bad. It's so as we have not habit of complaint, we make only bad things for ourselves, not good.
Interesting. Yes. So you think if there's some small complaining, earlier on might prevent this later big problems. In English, we say a stitch in time saves 9. So some small, but perhaps that's more if you take an action. Perhaps just voicing your complaint or rallying or complaining might not be exactly the same thing. Yes. So.
Yeah, I think, I agree with Lisa. I think it has also some virtues to complain, because it means that we are asking for more to our governments, and we and we managed to gain rights that other countries don't have. Freedom of speech, protection of employees, a lot of we have a social state with a lot of redistribution. So there are inequalities in France, but there are a lot of social safety net. So if you lose everything, you will never have to, and if you are ill, for instance, the state will pay for you. And so there are a lot of good things we managed to throughout the centuries of complaining and fighting and asking for more. Today we have a society that is, far from being perfect, but I'm quite grateful for the grumpy French people who we're fighting for our rights, and that's a good thing. So
Nice.
and also for instance, I wanted to give you another example. Yesterday I had my COVID jab, and there is a lot of people complaining about the jab, and there are some side effects, and but is it potentially saving your life? Yes, but if you have a headache, it's unacceptable. So yeah, sometimes it's too much. Like we are a bit blinded by our irrational or irrational anger or grumpiness. So
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Aggressive?
Sometimes. Sorry.
Is it like kind of aggressive or not that
I'm not sure. Aggressive. Is
not
that what
that
you mean?
much?
no, yeah, being angry, no, complaining. No, usually we are not. It's not violent. Usually, but sometimes it can turn violent. But this feeling of being entitled, and so we have this vaccine that cost billions of dollars to make, but we still have. We are saying, oh yeah, but I'm going to have a little bit of fever. I'm going to be, we are not grateful. That's what I'm trying to say, and we complain, and so we don't see the sometimes. So
I
it's.
think British
I
people
try
can be
to
that
have a
way
balanced
as well.
view of our attitudes, this emotion of being angry and complaining. So it has some virtues and some downsides to it.
But I feel so grateful to French people because, well, I have to say that in Thailand the situation is gone really bad. Like we don't even have a right to complain. If some do it too much, they'll
I like the
get
way you whispered when you say this. You are in safe place here, so you can we can't complain. Yeah, I can
Okay.
shout from the. That's the good thing. I can shout from the top of my lungs something very bad about
Yes.
Macron or our president, and I will be safe. But but I
Okay.
won't do it.
I think I can say it's kind of roughly. So like the problems that I have seen from from Thai community, I think the problem is kind of seniority. The people who are older is kind of they have more power, but it doesn't mean that they are more clever. It doesn't mean they have more enough ability to manage things well. But for us as the younger people who wants to do something better, but like the older one presses down, we cannot improve things, and everything was going badly.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. Also, there are some powerful people in France that have, they own the media, they own a lot of things. So in France, you think you are in a great democracy, you have freedom of expression, which is the case. But also you have people who have the real power, and they know how to control people, not in a tyrannical way, like if you don't do this, I'm going to send you to
to jail, prison,
to jail, or but through magazines, through the media, through television, they manage to keep the population under control. So it's not what I mean is there is still room for improvement, and we can do better. But just the fact of having the ability to say what's on your mind, what you think, really, it's a great thing. Like I cherish this possibility, because I like to talk about many subjects, and I would be very unhappy or frustrated not to be able to express myself. Like that's a good thing.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic, guys. So I want to come on to a final question today. In the talk, she said that actually, with this the fact that we build our own emotions gives us a lot of power and control, but it also gives us this greater responsibility. It almost reminds me from that line in Spider-Man, was it? With great power comes great responsibility. So, I want to ask you guys this: are we really responsible for our own emotions, and if so, what are the implications of that? Yes, Bam.
Yeah, I do really agree of this expression that we are responsible for our own emotions, because it's not all about that we need to be blamed because we do things badly to others, but it's about if we do something bad, it's going to be like memorized in your brains, and you probably do it again, and it's going to be getting worse. So it's not just getting worse to other people, but for ourselves as well.
Right. Yeah. I guess if you're always angry and jump off the handle, you'll become this kind of crazy hothead.
Yeah, hot temper girl, ah, like this, which is not so good.
Okay. Good point.
I always try to be emotionally calm and to save my emotions in myself. But unfortunately, so as I'm in my 40s, early 40s, but I can't. I'm not a Mr. Putin, and I need in his school.
Right. Yes, but I don't know if maybe Mr. Putin, even though he never shows it, maybe he's inside, he's burning with anger. And I guess the difference is between what you're able to show and keep, or how you really feel. Can we, by perhaps one comes before the other, like you say, perhaps it's a case of faking it until we make it. But yes, if we can be responsible for our own emotions, if we can choose, should we not then choose better emotions? If that makes sense. Yes.
But sometimes I'm not sure if the fake it until you make it is gonna lead to like toxic positivity. Like sometimes we are so weak, like too weak to go ahead to continue. But we have to say to ourselves that, oh, I'm okay, I can do things well. But actually, like honestly, like we can't stand it anymore. So we have to be more aware of ourselves.
Yeah, right. That's why I think it's not such a great, perhaps the be it till you see it. If you can really be something, if you can be positive and you can put yourself in that emotion, but if you're not actually that, if you're angry or if you're sad and you need to feel that emotion, you need to express that
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah. You just have to know your limits and kind. I think everything, if it's based on reality, would be the best.
Yes, but that's the thing. Reality for one person, reality is often can be different. Like the picture of the snake in the thing. What is there in reality? There's just some blobs there, but then we see the picture. So it's a tricky one. And she does say, obviously, you can't just do some Jedi mind tricks and make everything just how you would like it. Okay. Yes, please. Some final thoughts, Seb.
Yeah, I think it's a hopeful message. It means that we can reprogram ourselves. But as you said, it's not a Jedi mind trick. It takes efforts. It takes it's in the long term you will. I think we can change, and hence the responsibility. If we put in the efforts, we're gonna have positive results. But if we just accept our fate and just say, "Oh, I'm this kind of person. I jump off the handle, or I get angry straight away. I shout at others. I don't listen. I don't." But actually, we can learn to be more calm and reasonable. And so, yeah, that's a positive message. So, yeah.
Yes, great. Don't fly off the handle.
Mm.
Larissa, final thoughts?
I still we try to be emotionally calm, but in my society, I have to be open-minded.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I am very happy that you made it and contributed to this conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. And
Thank you for having me too.
you're most welcome. Cheers, guys. Thank you, Bam. Thank you, Seb. Thank you, Larissa. See you all next
Thank you.
week.
Thank
Enjoy the rest
you.
of your day.
Have
Bye-bye.
a good
Cheers.
one.